Where are you from?
I'm from Maryland, Temple Hills,
Okay.
Maryland.
And did you grow up in Maryland?
Yep, all my life.
And what was your upbringing in Maryland like?
I was born in a Christian home. Nothing against it, you know what I'm saying? I love God. I believe in God wholeheartedly. So it was a little bit of sheltered, kind of. I went to church, private school. But it was a good upbringing. I wouldn't say I had a horrible upbringing. It wasn't like I had to, necessarily like struggle, but I still was taught how to be respectful, humble, hardworking, and two-parent home. I'm the only child. I have no siblings. I have no siblings. But my parents did a good job. Parents been married for like 30 plus years, and I love them. They've sacrificed a lot for me, done a lot for me, and I'm here in Georgia, so yeah. Had a really good upbringing. It's just me being hard-headed. I was hard-headed and talkative.
Oh, really? Like, give me an example. Like,
I was so talkative that I got detention.
you got detention?
I got detention for if you're really talkative, like we get like check marks. Well, in my school did check, so if you got one, that's a warning. Two, and then the third one, you're going to detention because you're doing too much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was a weird way to keep us disciplined, but I mean, it does narrow you down to basically know when to speak and when not to speak. So it was a wise lesson. It was just, as a child, you just think it's punishment. Like, I'm sorry that I like to talk. Like, so, yeah.
Okay. Do you come from a musical family?
Yeah, my dad sings. My mom, I believe, my dad played clarinet. My mom played violin. Her dad played the saxophone. So, and my dad's brother sings. So, in a way, yeah. And then now here I am. I can sing and rap and stuff. So, yeah. Now, I would say it's heavily, but I've been in the choir all my life and even did the school chorale too. But people play instruments or sing in my family, so I guess that's where it kind of comes from.
Oh, wow. Do you play any instruments?
Ooh, I used to be able to play the clarinet. I dabble on piano. Like, I play whatever I hear. I can't really... Sheet music, I used to be able to read it. Now I can't. Lost the touch. But now I kind of put it into making beats. Beats are still instruments, but you're just putting instruments and sounds together and making it one giant symphony. So, yeah.
Okay. And so how did you enter the music industry? Like, you went from,
I've been doing music for like 5 years now. So I started off in 2017. My first performance was a house party, and from there, in that moment when I had great feedback from my very first song I put out called Flexin'. I knew, like, okay, I got something. And shout out to my homegirl, Lala. I haven't talked to her in a while, but that's still sis because she was the first person that really believed in me and even managed me. So she's the one that really helped build my career and my confidence, like, from the bottom. And then from there, took some time and patience and learning lessons and stuff like that, but it started chiseling me up into the artist I am now, which I believe is, within the 5 years, I'm very polished from where I started. So it's always been a passion of mine. I've been singing since I was 3. I started rapping from, like, me writing poetry in high school. So I just put it together and realized, I can do this. My first time in the studio, I was 15. Wrote a gospel song. And then from there, I wrote another song in the closet sophomore year of college in old friend of mine's room. He was an engineer, really dope engineer too. And I was like, no, I really got this. And it took, before the house party moment, performing, coming out as my old name, which was Blu-ray. Nobody laughed. But coming from that, it took a good friend of mine, shout out Louis Bags. He's the one who gave me Blu-ray because I didn't have a name. But when I heard his song play on one of the hot radio stations back in the DMV, because in that moment I was like, what's the point? So early, I had just started and I was already thinking about giving it up. And that was a moment when I realized if he can do it, then so can I. And it just went from there, and now went from there to Georgia and been doing my thing here too. So.
So what made you want to come to Atlanta? Was it just the music, or?
Change of scenery, but more so the music. I've been wanting to move here since 2019, and them 3 years I was just thinking and dreaming like, yo, I'm supposed to be there. Like, because I had performed here before, and the first time I was here was like May 2019-ish, I believe. I got here, took a bus here, the Greyhound here, I believe was here, either Newark, one of those, but either one. I think I took a bus to both. So just here, and it was just like, being here in that one moment, my first performance in Georgia, I was like, yeah, I think I'm supposed to be here. Came back another 1 or 2 other times, and I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Like, my heart is here. And then came out here a week after my 21st birthday or 22nd birthday, I believe. 25 now, guys. So I was like, I came out, was visiting for a whole week. Went to the studio, got time to kind of go out and even vibe with the vibes of Georgia. And I said, no, I'm supposed to really be here. I missed my flight too. I kind of didn't want to go back home, and I kind of got mad at myself for missing my flight because I needed to go back home. But yeah, it's just, I always felt for like 3 years that I was supposed to be here. One way or another, I knew I was supposed to be here. And last year, June 24th, I will never forget, 2021, your girl arrived. So.
Right. How does your immediate family feel about your music career?
It took some time for my parents to get into it, but my mom cleaned to it first. When I first dropped my project, my very, very first project, it's all in the name, it's on all platforms. When I had came out as Ray, when I figured out myself a little bit more, and Ray stands for Real and Explicit, and I was like, okay, so now we gotta do a project. We gotta let them know who we are. Like, we gotta find the sound and the swag. Like, we gotta find Real and Explicit now. So 2018, I'll never forget this phone call. I called my parents and I was like, yes, so I'm coming home. I was in college, went to Frostburg State. 2018, 5 months before I was supposed to graduate. Y'all probably thinking like, well, why didn't you stay? Because when your soul is ready to go, you feel it. Like, you know when it's like, you know that pull towards your destiny. Like, you know how it feels, and you know when it's like, take that leap. You feel it. Okay. And I knew it wasn't me. I was like, okay, my spirit told me it's for a reason. And I had already been there for 3 years. I was doing radio, and I'm doing radio now with no degree. So put me in rooms that I may not even qualify for. Like, but even my professor told us, like, you don't really need your degree for radio. You just need experience. And I got it. And here I am with the radio. 106 Live Radio Bridge Club crew and DLE Radio. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, it's nothing to brag. It's just like, I'm glad that I took this leap and told my parents that day that I'm withdrawing from school. Well, what about our dream? I said, what about mine? And surprisingly, like, they eased off and let me come home. And that's how I knew, oh yeah, the path is open now. Because if it wasn't meant for me to do that, then they would have told me to stay mine behind there and finish after 5 months. But I'm glad I took the leap at the time I did. And I'm grateful even the more that they was cool with it. Because they knew I was going to come home and bust my behind. And I sure enough did. Got a job as much as I could. Got in the studio. They sent me Christmas money. And I took that money, went straight to the studio with it, and recorded my first project. It was my first EP as Real and Explicit. So my parents grew on, but this is when I realized, like, the rest of my family followed suit because they realized being in a Christian family and not necessarily doing gospel music, but I'm not doing raunchy music either, but it's because it's the hip hop trap sound. Automatically, oh, it's worldly, it's secular. No, it's the message. Because if Lecrae and them can rap about God on a trap beat, you know, why can't I tell my story in a message on a trap beat? Like,
wait, is it like Christian rap?
Not me, they are, but I do mention God in mine, but I put it in a pun way. But I do just straight up say God. But sometimes I feel like through music it's not enough, like talk about him. Like, so I talk about him. Like, on my story, I'll post something. On my Twitter, I'll post something. Because somebody might need to hear it. So I still stick to my roots of inspiring. I'm just telling my story, though. Maybe not in a traditional way, but you gonna still know who God is talking to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So so it had to grow in them when I told them it's the message, just listen to what I'm saying. And when they taking out the cuss words, then when they I still get the little, I can feel the cringe when they hear certain
Really?
words. I grew up in a Christian home now. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, like Christian home, like parents, pastors, or?
Oh no, like they just, I wouldn't call it conservative, but like, and not as strict anymore now because I'm an adult now. But like, they don't cuss, they don't drink, they don't smoke. Type of, yeah,
okay,
so you know what I'm saying. But they're not judgmental either. They're not like that. But like, yeah. So sometimes they cringe at certain words, but they still know that I'm really just making music. And over time, they did, and my family started supporting me to the point where they supported me moving here for music, like to the point where like my mom and my dad drove out with me here. Now they don't live here; they went back to Maryland, but we were going to get a U-Haul. U-Haul was a band. We were not doing that, so they put half my stuff in their car. I put half my stuff in my car, and we rolled out.
Oh wow!
10 hours. It's a 10-hour trip from Maryland to here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is when I really realized, oh no, they rocking with this now.
So once you got here, like, did you face any challenges, or was it like you hit the ground running?
It was a mixture of both, because I was here for a different opportunity that didn't end up working out. So because of that, it was a mixture of both, because I was with that situation for like 5 months up to like October, and that didn't work out. But I was already still doing me behind the scenes regardless, because you got to make sure you're good at the end of the day, because some things don't work out, i.e. this didn't work out.
What is the this that you're like alluding to?
I was in a situation with situation/opportunity, because it got me to where I'm supposed to be. But it didn't last as long as I thought it would, because, you know, NDA reasons. I was with an independent label, stuff didn't work out. So I didn't have to necessarily start over, because I always make sure that I'm good when it comes to my career, no matter what happens. And I've had help along the way, but I've always been the mastermind behind my vision. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to make things happen for me regardless. I'm still going to get me out there, perform, do what I have to do. I don't wait for nobody. That's just how I am. So didn't work out. Got my independence and my freedom back, more so, because you know, all the black and white, it doesn't matter no more when you get removed from a situation. So it's just like, and it's no hate, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm still grateful for it. It still got me to off the porch, and no, it wasn't solo, but I'm so grateful because I could say I was on off the porch. You know what I'm saying? I had the blue hair. If y'all ever go back, look for me with blue hair, neon, Suicide Dolls. That would be me. And but it was a hard group, like for real. But got my freedom back. That's gone, done and over with. All right, had to suck it up. But what was meant for evil was meant for my good. It was like it pulled me back to shoot me off, like to launch me in a way, because like romance, when you pull it back, it shoots, and it pushed me from there to this door, to that door, this door, that door, this door, that door, and from October last year up until a year later, because we're in October now, it is what's today? It has been a year since that situation happened, the 16th. So a year later, to look back now from me taking that hit up to now, I'm just like, wow, I really, that challenge and even other personal stuff in between, going from job to job, dealing with the wrong relationship situation, going through a whole deeper situation in one particular relationship, standing strong through that, fighting through my anxiety, fighting through, am I going to make it, fighting through, I should quit. Like, I still have those days. I seem like I'm the most confident person I am, but I'm still human. And looking at the entire situation, thinking like, there's no way this is going to happen, because it looks one way, but the other way is just like, how? But that's where faith comes in. And out of all the challenges I've gone through, got into a car accident my second month here. It was a mess. My first 6 months here was a wreck. I was getting stuff done, but it was a wreck. But from there to now, get back on my feet, having my family and friends to help get back on my feet, Making sure I do my best with my bills and stuff like that. Bills is a challenge in itself. That's adulting's ghetto, but like,
Right.
it's ghetto.
Here.
Especially post-pandemic, folks, ghetto. But I tell myself, still I rise. I think this is my Phoenix year. Despite all the challenges, Phoenixes rise from dust, from ashes. Diamonds are pushed through pressure, but even after pressure, they're polished to be pretty, to be really cleaned up. And I think that's where I'm at now, going through all that pressure and hell and BS. Like, now to be here, I'm like, I know there's new levels coming, new levels of challenges coming, but I'm so grateful that I got past it, because between monkeypox and pandemic and...
Well, you had the monkeypox?
No.
Oh,
I did have COVID. not as bad.
You didn't even tell me.
I'm good. After shots now, I'm good. That was like last year.
You didn't even tell me, y'all.
Y'all, I'm good. I promise. I've been negative since. But yeah, like, what kept me going was just like, it's gonna be okay. Like, there's a whole nother rainbow beyond the storm, and we just gonna have to get there however we get there. So yeah, it was a lot of challenges. It's a long list of them, but at the end of the day, made me stronger and even wiser day by day.
What has been like your biggest accomplishment, or what you consider your biggest accomplishment in your music career so far?
Oh boy, I think I would probably have maybe like 2, 3.
Okay, just give us maybe top 2, 3.
4. I'm just kidding. So
Yeah,
I downplay stuff sometimes because I'm thinking about what's next and what's bigger and better. But I would say getting a shout out from Jim Jones. Wu-Tang Jim Jones, yeah.
Okay.
So shout out to Leon Rob, he's the producer of my song, The Anthem. And I showcased it in a virtual showcase through Zap Life, and Jim was the celebrity guest host every time because he collabed with them, so he was always on there. Real cool dude, like real chill. Like my man's was sitting there, and you can see him, it's virtual. He's sitting there building whatever he was building, but he's actually listening to them. So song plays, funny story, I was driving back from here, which is my 3rd time performing here. And me and my friend driving back, it was my turn to drive, and I turned it on before I drove so I could, listen. Got into a bad area of trees, it cut out, and I'm like, right when my song plays, are you kidding me? But God is good. My friend, she just so happened to pull her phone out because she said she didn't see my screen, so she recorded for me, caught it in time for that. It's on my page too. He literally said, who was that again? And the DJ, she was like, Ray. And he was like, shout out to Ray, that record was dope. I was like, oh, mind you, this is a record that I didn't think was my best, because I'm a perfectionist. It's really bad, y'all. But now it's completely grown on me, because when I brought it here, people was really vibing with it. I was like, you know what, I might got something. But when he said that, I said, yo, Rob, we got one. Like, for him to say that coming from a different era of music, like the 80s, 90s boom bap, Wu-Tang, New York era, for him to be an OG to say that, that was like the most proudest moment of my life. And that was a song that, one of the songs that was like my least favorite. And I'm like, now it was my favorite. Because if he hears it and sees it, it's something in it. Shout out to Rail Carter. That is Jay-Z's nephew. Being on his project, I say was a big thing too. And then him invite me to come back to finish the project was even more of an accomplishment, because I'm like, who would have known me moving from Maryland would cause this much attention, or this many open doors or accolades or opportunities? Who would have thought? You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have really thought that this would be happening? I would have never thought in years I would be, on his mixtape or hearing Jim Jones shout me out. Never. And then I would say off the porch, it's not my own, but off the porch is one thing, because not everybody can say that, especially not even from where I'm from, because there's nothing for music really out there. And that's why I moved to, just to uproot somewhere else. And it's other stuff, and I can't even think no more. Like, it just be happening, and I try my best to, it's not an accomplishment, but a highlight would be, I actually was invited through a homegirl to be at Quavo and Takeoff's release party for the Infinity album. And it was like lit to be there.
I
like,
saw that picture.
Yeah, like
That was dope.
Thank you. And it was so out the blue too. And didn't even know their album had dropped on my birthday, which was the 7th. And I said, okay.
Oh, happy belated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that I guess is an accomplishment. I guess like being invited to a space like that, meeting, people being in the room with Lil' Kim was there. Like I thought I saw her, but I didn't get a chance to go talk to her. But just making those moves, being on the 2 radio stations now, like that's a big accomplishment because I don't even have my degree, but I studied mass communication, radio personality. So it's a lot of accomplishments, especially with me being here. I say that I've accomplished a whole lot more since I moved out here. So I'm grateful. It's been a struggle, still a struggle, but I remain grateful because it could be way worse. I could be going nowhere.
And so, would you sign to a label again, or do you want to be independent for the rest of your career?
Honestly, my best answer is whatever is best. Whatever God thinks is best at the right time for me is what it is. I'm gonna go with that. Whatever my spirit feels the most peace with, after you read the contract and you discuss stuff, and if it aligns with what I'm looking for myself, then I'll do it. Whether it's independently and someone sponsors me, or somebody backs me up, I don't know, or like an investor, or the right contract comes and it's another record deal. I don't really mind, because you gotta think business too. It's 90% business, 10% talent. You gotta think about it. You can get your master's back. You can pay for your master's. And if you 100% wrote it, I write all my stuff all the time. If you 100% write it, you still own the master's to your lyrics, at least because you still wrote it. Now the master of the recording, maybe not, but it's temporary. Once you make enough money, you negotiate with your label, like, hey, I want to get my master's back. Get your master's back. If you're offered to pay, boom. Now, if they withhold it, then you got a different issue. And that's what you don't want. So you got to just make sure you're with the right thing. So where I'm at is like, whatever feels right and whatever is supposed to be right for me, I'll go with that. I'm kind of open, because if it's a record deal, shoot. I mean, the only thing that makes a record deal like crazy is when you don't read your contract, you don't do research, you don't have the right lawyer, they can mess you up. Or you just jump into it because you just think, you're not taking the time to really think if it's really, if that label is for you. You gotta make sure you go to the right store, because if you want to look for some Jordans, you ain't gonna go to Rue 21. You're gonna go to the Nike factory or like Foot Locker. You gotta make sure that you're shopping yourself to the right place. So I don't have nothing totally against record labels or record deals. I just think that the bottom line is make sure you go with who you can see yourself with, if that's for you, and make sure you do your research and read your business, read your contracts, So I don't know, I'm open. It's whatever flows my way that's right.
What's your highest aspiration with your musical career?
I want to reach Beyonce's goal. She's been in the game for like 25 plus years. And I know I'm going to catch it as young as she started, because I'm 25 now. But basically, I want to be in like maybe 10 to 15 years of maybe 10 of getting music, but like after that, mentoring, helping, because my plan is to develop, and I'm working on the groundwork of developing my business. I'm not gonna tell the niggas, I want might steal my idea, but it's going to be that hub that's going to help artists and provide other stuff like clothing and radio and stuff like that, and maybe some other things for artists, magazines. So after that, I kind of want to do mentoring and just offering things to help artists, especially the independent scene, because I feel like it's not a lot of resources out there for us independent artists to really get. And yes, it takes money to make money. You should invest in yourself, but sometimes even guidance is helpful. I get people say pay for information. Me, I want to do things a little bit more unorthodox. Y'all ain't gonna pay for this knowledge. Yeah, because you can go look it up yourself, but at the same time, because I care and been there, done that, I'm gonna just let you know. But when it comes to what you want to do to get your business in order, yeah, invest, but I'm not gonna make it unaffordable. You know what I'm saying? Because been there, done that. So my aspiration is to put my time in and leave a deposit behind for my future children, but also for independent artists to continue to eat off of, continue to utilize even when my time is done. because just because I'm gone does not mean the helpful services or the helpful guidance or my business should be gone too, because it's all about giving back at this point. And me being in as an independent artist, I feel like it's not enough out there to help give back to us too, because I'm gonna be real, some of us are harder than people's favorite rappers. That's just the facts. I've heard a lot of independent music out here and we hard. Okay,
yeah,
our wave is hard, but
Right.
that's my aspiration, just being an inspiration to others and spreading hope and leaving behind a deposit and my mark. And actually putting my time in doing what I love to do, which is performing and touring, and making someone smile and feel good, because you go about to my music and that's what I want, because somewhere deep down it made you feel good. So
Okay. And so for someone who aspires to do what you do, what advice would you give them?
keep the faith and keep God first, but just never give up. No matter what it looks like, that's the time where the least expected happens. There's one thing that my pastor had preached on Sunday, and I would never forget this, because I took a lot of sacrifices to do this, but all victories proceed after a sacrifice is made. And you gotta be willing to be brave enough and have faith enough to sacrifice the lesser for greater, even if that's for the path of your dreams or for that career or for that investment, even if it's in stock. Like, sometimes you just gotta take that leap. So never give up, because you never know when your breakthrough's around the corner. You never know. I never know. Y'all never know. But just stay true to you. Keep God first. Keep the faith. Stay true to you, and never give up, man. Because it could be like that picture where you got the guy digging and digging. You got the two guys. I know y'all probably seen on Instagram, the two guys are digging for the same amount of gold and diamonds. That one dude stopped right there and it was like, man, forget about it, and turns back around. And the other dude keeps going. He gets to that gold. So just keep getting towards your gold. Like, whatever your gold and your end goal and prize is, just keep going towards it. No matter how hard and how hot it gets around you, how much pressure you go through, just know you're going to be beautiful at the end of it. So yeah, that's the biggest one I would say. Never give up, because it's so easy for your mind to play tricks on you and tell you it's never going to work, all because you're looking at your circumstances around you. But when you have that faith, it's going to be hard, because especially with the times we're living in now, it's really hard. Like, every single day it's something. Every other week is a bill due. I get it. But beyond all that, never give up. Somebody somewhere is believing in you and rooting for you and using you as their motivation to keep doing what they're doing. So never give up.